there and ends this thing in the first round, just as he had predicted.
Well, and as a follow-up to that, I think that's one of those temporary lover spats that happens between managers and fighters. I don't think Emmanuel Stewart is in any way out. I think they will make it up.
Well, the same thing happened with Tommy Hearns, and he came back to Tommy Hearns. And we understand that Bobby says he's standing by with Emmanuel Stewart. And we're going to go to Bobby right now to get further explanation. Chappie?
Thank you, Steve. I'm here with Emmanuel Stewart, the renowned trainer of the Kronk Gym, and also Gerald McClellan, trainer. I was just talking about how you would be in his corner and take care of anything that he might need, and you're not in the corner. What was the story with that?
Well, you know, I'm also the manager and trainer. In the particular case here, I've been so busy with other fights, as you know, a couple of weeks ago, and I haven't had the time to really train him, and I didn't think that this fight particularly was going to be that difficult. So I just let the guys who've been working with him and training get a chance to be exposed on TV and work with him.
But the relationship is still solid and everything's fine between you and Gerald?
Yeah, as a manager right now. Next time, if I have time to train him, fine. But for this particular fight, I didn't have time to really train him properly.
Okay, well, I can understand. I've seen many fighters who have trainers, and the fighters get mad.
Oh,
you know, they get upset. I know Livingston Bramble and Tommy Parks. You know, Tommy was training him. Tommy was training me. One day, you know, Livingston told him by mail, "You're just not my trainer anymore," because you went with Bobby training camp, and it becomes difficult. I'm sure you have to have a lot of dissension from time to time.
Well, you're going to always have that when you have a big stable of fighters. In the last 2 weeks, I've been very busy. You know, Tommy's fought twice, and there's some other fights I've been working on. And this particular fight, in particular, after I found out what was happening related to Lamar Parks, the original opponent. So the guys that have worked with him have been doing a good job with him, and they've been training like 8 weeks, which I didn't have that kind of time to spend in Las Vegas, and it was very difficult to train back in the East because of the extremely bad winter that we've had.
Well, I know in the amateurs, you were the only one to beat me, and that beat me in the pros as the trainer of the fighter, so I hope me and Tommy get the table so I can get one back from you.
Well, I think the way it's looking, we're going to do that real soon. We don't need any more tune-ups between you two. And we're going to be working with Don King, and he's trying to put together, hopefully, where you and Tommy can be fighting probably in the next 90 days for some kind of a title.
Okay, now who's next? Who are you training next, and where are you going with the stable? I know the gym is always producing tremendous fighters, and I credit a lot of that to you.
Well, we got Leon Zababa right now, WBO light heavyweight champion that we work with. But the main thing that we're really focusing a lot on, particularly, is really getting Thomas ready for the big fight with you.
Well, I'm excited about it. Everybody knows at home that I think it's a fight that I thought should have happened back in the late 80s. It's a great fight and something I'm looking for, but I appreciate you stopping and talking with us. I'm going to throw it back to Steve Albert at ringside.
All right, Bobby, that may be the first time a fighter negotiated a fight for himself during an interview. Unbelievable. But Emmanuel Stewart has called Gerald McClellan his best all-around fighter. We're set for the official decision, the official word from Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, this bout has been stopped at 1 minute 37 seconds in round number 1. The winner by way of technical knockout and still champion, the G-Man, Gerald McClellan.
So apparently much ado about nothing as far as Emmanuel Stewart was concerned, as he discussed with Bobby Chez. There is not a split. He just felt he was too busy to be in the corner of Gerald McClellan and should be back in the corner when McClellan has his rematch with Julian Jackson on May the 7th. So Gerald McClellan makes easy work of Gilbert Baptist, and the fight doctor is standing by in the ring.
That easy? You thought it was going to be that easy?
Well, I worked hard. It's the hardest I ever trained, the longest I ever trained. 7.5 weeks. Everybody thought I had a problem making weight, but I got it off like 2 weeks ago real easy. And I feel real good out there, strong. You know, thanks to my man right here, Willie Brown, for sticking with me, putting up with my attitude for the whole time. It was good.
Well, maybe that's why you're such a tough fighter. You got a tough attitude.
Well, you know, it's a rough sport, you know, rough game. You got to be tough. The good guys don't make it in this game.
All right. Do you think you were looking, the question was, were you looking past this guy to Julian Jackson? Well, if you were, there was no evidence of it.
I got the press conference, me and Julian had a few words. I was telling Julian if he respected me like he said he do, you know, get off my case about that fight, because I have a tough fight in front of me, and take one step at a time.
So you are ready for Julian Jackson?
I'm ready for Julian Jackson. Anybody out there wants Julian Jackson, James, Tony, Roy Jones, all the big name guys, because my name is big too. So I know we can make a big pay to get together.
Well, the last little thing we got to say is that Emanuel Stewart, who wasn't in your corner, has just been interviewed there and said, listen, we're still manager and fighter. We're still friends, and we're going to be working together in the future. Have you got anything to add to that?
Well, I don't want to say anything about that. You know, Emanuel know what he did, and I'm not going to criticize nobody on national television. I'm a better man than that. But, you know, if it's up to Emanuel, we work things out. If not, I'll keep doing what I did tonight.
All right. And on that note, we go back to Steve at ringside.
All right, thank you very much, Bertie. And based on what Gerald McClellan just said, you get the feeling that we should read more into the situation, even though Emanuel Stewart kind of poo-pooed the whole deal.
Well, I know fighters, and they all have attitudes, and they all have tremendous egos, so sometimes if a trainer's not in that training camp the whole time, they get mad and tempers flare.
All right, Bobby, let's take a look at the action from this very short fight as Gerald McClellan makes quick work of Baptist.
Well, he came right out and wanted to establish that I'm the puncher, and I'm going to run through you, and you're going to have to defend against this, and now. And Gerald threw everything he had at him, and Baptist had a problem. And, you know, it's incredible because I know Baptist I haven't seen him for 18 years, and I was really hoping he would put on a better show for himself because he's a nice young kid. But Gerald is just so strong, and we know how when he weighs in at 160 day before the fight, he's 175 day of the fight. And when you have that kind of power coming at you, not giving back something to take a little steam out of it, it's going to steamroll you.
Well, yes, indeed. Well, got him in trouble on the ropes here again. Gilbert Baptist will go back to being a probation officer in San Diego, works with kids, and you're right, he's a gentleman.
Yes, here he stays on the ropes instead and tries to block a punch and roll, and that's good, but it's not the best thing he could have done. He should have used his legs, move, just try to throw something out there, maybe a jab or something to deflect some punches. And here at the end of the fight, again, his back is on the ropes, and he's getting pounded. And the referee, you know, he's basically seen enough. He knows where it's headed. No sense in letting the young man get hurt. He's a nice fella, and Joe Cortez knows his job.
Well, in this case, Richard Steele. And,
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Steele.
Baptist was nearly beheaded in this fight by the awesome power of Gerald McClellan. Taking a page from the body snatcher in our earlier fight.
Yes, I stand corrected.
That's quite all right. There's Richard Steele checking. At this point, he's trying to elicit a response from Gilbert Baptist. Baptist took his time and finally is saying, I'm okay, and then they pressed on once again, but he should have stayed away.
They pressed on for a minute, and Baptist really didn't get hit. He just kind of collapsed into Jackson, and the bout was over. He asked him 2 or 3 times, you okay? And he said, let me see you. Step forward, step to me. Let me see that you're okay. And with the criticism coming from Mildred Taylor, you know, he's going to check on those boys now.
A non-title fight taking on Pittsburgh's Carl Sullivan, and that's our first fight of the evening. So to call the action, let's go now to ringside, and my partner, WNBC New York sportscaster Len Berman. Len?
Thank you very much, Cambrell Marshall. And the moral of tonight's story, if you're a boxer, is always be prepared. 3 of our 6 featured boxers tonight only got their call to arms.